So here what we did pretty much was to declare a couple of properties, and to each of the property we wrote the getters and the setters, and each of the getter was returning the value of the class member, and the setter was allowing us to set the value of the class member. Similarly, we did another one called character name, and in this property we were returning in the getter the following member name, and we were setting the following member name. So again, to zoom in here, we created this class. Then we created another program called program.cs, in which we created a couple of objects of game character type, and we called the constructor of the class. We set the names for each one of the gaming characters, we set their powers, and then we simply displayed the values back. What we're going to do different today is, first of all, we're going to be adding one more feature to this example. If you notice this one line of code, this is not new to you. You have seen this similar lines in Unity. This is the name of the class. That you are creating a class called game character, and the name of the object is called wizard. It's pretty much like in Unity when you say game object and you say the name of a game object. So the name of the game object is the object, and the game object is the class, which defines the data type of that object. What do you see over here is what I want to explain to you next. The word new means that I want to allocate memory for this object. That's what the word new means. And the type of the object will going to be this. What is the difference between the game character over here versus the game character over here? What's the difference between the two game character? This one has parentheses in front, and this one does not have parentheses in front. So this is the name of the class, and this is the name of the constructor of the class. So constructor of the class is a special method in the class which is used to populate or give initial values to all the class properties. Right now, I do not have a constructor coded in my game character. So when I do not have one coded, the system will going to code one for me. But I can certainly code one for myself. And we're going to just code a constructor here in this example, and we're going to test the constructor. Then we're going to go in Unity, and in the Unity we're going to learn about inheritance. So what we're going to be learning about inheritance is, for example, if you want to create two different characters in your game. One is called vampire and the other one is called skeleton. Now these two characters share some properties and share some behaviors. So instead of me having to write the properties and behaviors in respectively in skeleton and then repeating them again in vampire, I can create one parent class, and I can put all the commonalities in the parent, and then I can make the children inherit from the parent. So that way children would not have to reinvent the wheel. So that's what inheritance does. But before we get to that, we're going to go and do the constructor in this example. Constructors always have the same name as the name of the class. So I'm going to write here public game character. That's my constructor. By default, the character name will going to be Samson, and the power will going to be 600.
Grab the remote. Dear God.
Okay, so we have a power of 600 and a character name is Samson by default. That means if I create a game character and I do not call the setter on the power and the setter on the name, that will be the default name and that will be the default power. So if you want to create a game character with certain defaults, you do it inside the constructor. Now switching over to the main program, I would now like to create another game character called common character equals to new game character. Now once I create this common character over here, now I will not going to call any setters on this common characters. I will not going to say common character dot character name or common character dot power. I'll simply display in the console dot write print line that what exactly are the defaults of this character. So I'll say here common character dot char name and common character dot power. And let's test this code. And notice that the common character automatically gets the name Samson and automatically gets a power of 600. So the baseline is that you write constructors to give initial values to any of the objects. And that's the sole purpose of creating constructors. Constructors can never be called again. They can only be called once when the object gets created. And after that, you can't call them. So again, we created a common character and then we displayed it without calling any setters, and we right away got the defaults that we set in the constructor.